All right, recording is on. So I'd like to welcome everybody. Did everybody receive a copy of the handout?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to basically follow the handout a little bit. So we'll talk a little bit about browsers, search engines, and then something called add-ons or extensions. Let's start with, oh, somebody just came in. Not sure who just came in. Anyway, I just authorized somebody else to come in. Let's start with kind of a concept. Black.
One.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe that that I know who that is.
Okay. I see connecting to audio. I don't see an image yet. Anyway, let me continue. Let's assume, for example, we're starting from scratch and you buy a computer and you take it home, right? And it doesn't matter whether it's a Windows computer or an Apple computer. You get the software running and you find that there's some way to connect to the internet. It might be a wireless connection, it might be a cable. Basically, you are connecting to your ISP. So if you have Dish, you're going to connect to Dish. If you have Charter Spectrum, you go to Charter Spectrum. You might be Ziply or Frontier, any of these guys. All right. Now that you're connected to the internet, you can't do a thing, absolutely nothing, because the operating system does not understand how to do anything on the internet. All it knows how to do is connect. Right? So unless you have another program to run, you're dead in the water. Now, fortunately, with every operating system comes a free browser. And the browser is that program which knows how to use the internet. So if you bought an Apple product, you should get Safari. If you bought a Windows product, an older one, you probably got Internet Explorer. If you buy a newer Windows product, you should get Edge. Does that make sense to everybody? You get a free browser when you get a computer. Now you can go to the internet and look around and do things. If you didn't get a browser, the only way you could add programs to your system is via something like a floppy disk or a disk drive, a CD, a DVD, something like that. If you've been around a while, it might have been a zip drive, right? Now, a couple of things to understand about browsers. First of all, they're free. Second of all, you can almost use any browser on any system. And there are some exceptions, but basically you get a free browser when you get your computer, and you have the choice of adding other browsers.
Question.
Okay.
Okay. How many of them can you have hooked up at the same time? Can I use Edge? Can I also have Firefox and everything?
Let me show you. Can everybody see my bottom scale down here? I don't know what your image looks like. See
No,
these little circles?
No, I don't have any of your screen on here.
Okay. Anyway, at the bottom of my screen in the taskbar for Windows, I have 7 browsers sitting there.
Okay, but usually if you do that, put a new one in, it says, do you want this as your default? Well, I'm afraid to change my default.
Well, so let's talk about a default for a second. All right. If you have a program that wants access to the internet, and if you have more than one browser, the operating system, Windows, doesn't know which one to use. So you choose one as the default. When you start with Windows, the default is automatically Edge.
Yeah.
If you don't want to use Edge, you can change the default.
But then do
Okay,
you have to change the default if you want to do Chrome and then you want to do Firefox, every time you want to use a different one, you have to change the default thing?
no, the
Oh,
default is only that the browser that the operating system will open if you don't specify. I'll show you right now. I'm going to open up Chrome. Everybody see Chrome coming up?
I have a blank page. I
Yes.
see Google.
Mhm.
Okay. This is, you see up here in the upper left-hand side?
It says Google.
Yeah, this is Google, the website I went to. All right. But this is the Chrome browser.
Oh, okay.
Now, I'm going to click the next one. You see the next screen coming up?
Mhm.
This is Firefox, Mozilla Firefox.
Mhm.
I'm going to click the next one. This particular browser is Edge. I'm going to click the next one. Here's another browser. I'm going to click another one. This is called Opera. Right? And I have a couple of more. But
How
I'm
did you,
not,
how did you put them down on your, what do you call it, taskbar?
okay, well, you can go to any program. Let's go over here to start. Here's programs over here. See the applications on the left?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so if I right click an application, let's see. See over here, it says pin to start.
Okay, okay.
This particular one is pinned to the taskbar, so it doesn't give me the taskbar option.
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, let me see if I can get a different one. Some of these have the capability of doing it and some don't. Right, this one will allow me to pin to start.
Okay.
Over here in more, it allows me to pin to the taskbar.
Oh, okay.
That makes
So-
sense to everybody?
Yeah, but if I don't have it in my, if I've never
Mm.
put Chrome or Firefox into my system, I have to download that first?
Absolutely.
Okay,
You download it and it should show up in this list. Typically, what'll show up is up here and show up as recently added. For example, this week I added Opera, Tor, and a special browser called Google Chrome Canary,
Hmm,
right? So you just use any browser you have, go to the web, type in the name of whatever browser you want to get. When you go to that page, you will typically find a download link.
okay,
Download it, and then it will show up over here, recently added. And then if you right click it, okay, you know, I can add it to the taskbar. This
Okay.
one's on the taskbar, so it says
yeah,
unpinned from the taskbar.
okay.
Does that make
Alright.
sense?
Yes, great, thank you.
Okay, so let me close these guys for a minute. I got too
So,
many open.
Dennis, does
Yes.
one work better than the other?
Each one is a little different. I can't say that one works better than the other because each one has a different set of features. By that I mean one might operate a little faster. One might have a few more options. One might be easier to navigate. One might look better for you. Right? It's kind of you have to choose whatever is important, play with the browsers, and then select whichever one you want. Okay. Now,
Right.
this came up before, so I'm going over here to my search box on Windows. Okay. And I'm going to type in the word settings. Okay. And here's all the system settings.
Mhm.
Right? And I can go in here and change any of these things. Let's see, somebody else is coming in. Let me let them come in for a second.
Mary.
Yeah. Hi, Mary, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm so sorry. It took me forever to find a link. And Leo's here
Okay.
too.
Hi, Leo. All right, we're talking about browsers, and I showed several different browsers, Chrome and
Yes.
Firefox and Edge and things like that. Let me just make sure I cover something. I typed in the word default into the search box. Everyone see it in the left up here?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going to click that default apps. Okay. What this is Windows doesn't know what program to use when you want to do certain things. Okay. For example, if I want to send an email, it's going to use Outlook because I told it to use Outlook. And if I want to play with photos, it's going to use something called Photos. Right? But down here, you see where it says web browser.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay. I just clicked it. You see up here, it says for your browser, who do you want to use? So I have a choice: Edge, Firefox, Chrome, Chrome Canary, Internet Explorer, Edge, Opera. Okay. Or I could go to the Microsoft Store and pick a different browser than these. Right? So this is the default browser. Or now what Dorothy brought up is every time you go and use a browser, especially for the first time, it will say, do you want to make me the default? And if I use, right now, Chrome is my default browser. But if I started Firefox, the first time I open Firefox, it's going to say, do you want to make Firefox the default browser?
Ask a question.
Yes, go ahead.
What's the difference between Canary and the regular Chrome?
Okay. Now we're going to get technical.
Oh,
Okay. At the heart of every browser is an engine, which sets up most of the features of the browser, right? Chrome uses an engine called Chromium. Chromium is a free engine that is maintained by people outside of Chrome. And this is where they took their name, right? Let me see if I can word this correctly. The most solid browser in the Chrome has several different browser conditions, okay? The one that you're using is one that's completely tested, right? There's one that's a little rougher than that, which is called the beta browser. That means the Chrome people are working on it, but they haven't released it yet to the general public. They've released it to only special people who are testing it for Chrome. All right. So at the top level is the current one that's out in the world. The next level down, which is a little rougher, is special called beta, which is sent out to people to play with. And if they find problems with it, they report it to Chrome. Chrome fixes the beta, and sooner or later, they release it as Chrome to all their users. That makes sense?
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. The level down from that is a development browser. This is where Chrome keeps it internal to their company. And this is where they play with it internally because it's not ready yet to send out to their beta users. Okay. So it's really in rough shape. Okay. They haven't debugged the whole thing. They haven't added all of the applications they want. So that's the deeper, the third level. Okay. The bottom level is Google Chrome Canary. This is a browser that they took from Chromium and they're making it their own. Okay. Google Chrome Canary or Chromium can change every day or two as people who own it make all kinds of modifications. So what happens is they make modifications and Google Chrome comes over and takes Chromium, brings it into their shop. They change the name to Canary. They start playing with it internally. When they're satisfied, they send it to beta users. When all the beta users have agreed it seems to be okay, then they send it out to the general world. Does that make sense or is that confusing?
No, that makes sense.
Okay. Now, let me complicate just a little bit. Chromium is free. Anybody can get Chromium. I downloaded it. Okay, and it's called Canary. When Windows 10 came out, Microsoft created their own browser called Edge. They found that Internet Explorer had outlived its usefulness and it was time to replace it.
This is when they first
Right.
came out with. it
Yeah.
came out.
So they created their own browser called Edge. Turns out Edge wasn't that good either. So what did they do? I'm going to drop this for a minute. So what they do? Edge went over to Chromium and says, can we use Chromium? And Chromium said yes. So Edge now uses its internal engine as Chromium. Same thing as Chrome uses. So at the core, both browsers are identical. It's only the additional features they've added to it. Now, confuse issues one more time, then I'm getting off this thing for a second. If you're running Windows 10, you probably have two versions of Edge, right? You have the original Edge and they have the newer version. The next time Microsoft comes out with a major update, they're going to delete the old version of Edge so nobody accidentally uses it. Okay. So any questions on the browser? All right. Let me, yeah, go ahead, Barbara.
What is the difference between a browser and a search engine?
We're going to do that.
Okay.
Okay. Let me open up a browser. I'm going to open up Mozilla Firefox for a second. Okay. Everyone see this top thing? It says aarp.org.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the things you have to do when you open up a browser, you have to give it a default location to start. Okay. Remember, as Windows had to choose a default browser, a browser has to search, or excuse me, has to find a web page to open. So I told this browser that the first page I want you to open every time you start is aarp.org. Okay. If I went down here to another browser, this is Edge. Okay. The default page associated with Edge is msn.com. You can make any default page you want with any browser.
Hmm.
Right now, to answer your question, over here is an address bar. Right? When browsers first started, you had to be able to put in the entire address of where you wanted the browser to look. So this is www.msn.com. I could change this to, for example, if I wanted to go to cnn.com. Right? So Firefox now stopped looking at MSN and it has loaded cnn.com. Does that make sense? Is everybody following me?
Yeah,
Anybody? Okay. If I want to use a search engine, okay, search engines reside on somebody else's website. They do not reside on your computer. Right? Search engine is just another company running a product on their particular set of computers. Right? So for example, one of the search engines is Bing. So if I typed over here and I went to bing.com, okay, I am using Firefox and I went to bing.com and bing.com shows me a search box here. This is now bing.com's website and I can do search. It gave me some choices, but I don't have to follow this choice. I can type in anything I want. For example, I could type in my name, if I could spell my name. Okay, so I type my name in and Bing now has gone to its database and found every time I'm listed on the web. See that?
Good.
So if I go,
Congrats.
so if I go
Dennis,
back,
you're lucky you have a wonderful one-off name. If somebody tried to do Mark Smith, they'd have to plow through.
well, Mark Smith,
Well, if you put in Mark Smith or whatever, there
Yeah.
would be thousands of,
well, there's a couple of Mark Smiths.
which Mark Smith?
Yeah, that's a problem. Okay, so let's review for a second. The search engine sits on somebody else's website. And what they do is they maintain a database of websites they searched. So if they go on out and have searched a particular website, that would go in its database. Once it's in its database, people can come over to Bing and look and do a search. Bing goes to their database. How big is the database? Sometimes I've seen some quotes of 50 billion items in a database.
Raking through, looking for
Okay.
what you want.
Google's database is the largest, and it's not on one computer, it's on multiple computers. Right? Here's something to understand about search engines. When you type in something here, they do not go to the web looking for it. Right? I emphasize this. When you type in a search term, they do not go to the web looking for it. What they do is they go to their database on all of the computers they have, and they look through their database to see, do they have a match for what you typed in? And if they have a match, that's what they display. So this means that if a particular website has just changed something and you do a search, you might not catch it. because you're looking at older information sitting on a database. Yeah, let me close this for a second and we'll talk for a minute. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I'm glad you highlighted that.
Okay.
I just assumed they went to the same, I thought everybody went to the same internet and searched the same stuff, but not so. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and there's multiple copies of, for example, the Bing database or the Google database, right? And it's in different geographic locations. So if I search for a restaurant, I might come up with ones around my location because it's using a search engine near me. However, if I was sitting in China and I looked up a restaurant, it would use the Chinese version of the Google search engine. So each one of the search engines has multiple locations and multiple databases. Does this make sense or is it confusing? I don't want to go too deep.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
Okay, good. If a person wanted to search for, say, some geographical area in, I don't know, Austria or something, are there any search engines that are better at going to geographic places to look at things at that geographic place? Like if you did-
I don't know.
Okay,
I've never checked that particular aspect. Okay, but let me confuse you now a little bit. Okay. The World Wide Web is all of the computers through their ISPs that are connected to the internet. Okay. Search engines look at a lot of these websites and they build databases.
Mm.
What is not appreciated is of all of the websites on the web, search engines only search about 4% of them.
how
They
do you
do.
get access to the rest?
Well, just a second. The other 96% is not search. Okay. That's called the deep web.
Oh,
What is sitting there? Well, let's say you go to your, oh, somebody wants to come in. Let me admit them. Let's say you go to your bank and you want to look at online some older statements. Okay. So where are your statements? Well, they're on the bank's computer, but you can't access them directly. They're in the dark web portion of the computer. Right?
mm.
You have to log on with a username and a password and maybe a phone number, and then you can get to them. So a lot of companies keep information on the deep web. All governments keep information on the deep web. Okay, companies, people can keep it. Anything that is not directly accessible is part of the deep web. Make sense?
Yes.
Most of the stuff on the deep web is fine, right? But there's a piece of the deep web called the dark web. Okay, the dark web is where you really got to know where it is and what you're doing. Because on the dark web, you can buy illegal drugs, guns, passwords, credit card numbers. Okay, there's a whole legal section. So at the very top is what's indexed. That's called the surface web. The next level is the deep web. And part of the deep web is called the black web. Okay. The typical search engine will never go to the black web. Okay. They're designed specifically not to do that. If you want to go to the black web, you have to get a unique search engine. Just a second. You see this coming up?
Yeah,
This is called Tor. This is the Tor browser. This is the browser that you use if you want to go to the dark web.
Hmm.
Okay. So if you're looking for drugs, you want to load Tor and then go to the dark web to find illegal drugs.
Is that the only browser that goes to the dark web?
No,
Black
but it's one of them.
One, okay.
One of the things that Tor does, and it's not designed specifically for the black web, don't get me wrong, okay? It's designed for privacy, right? So the way Tor works, it sends requests out to multiple paths. And if somebody intercepts it, they don't know specifically where the request came from. So it gives you additional security, okay? You can download Tor and use it all you want. It's very safe to use. It just has some additional capabilities that the other browsers don't have. Right?
Is that the browser that hackers use?
Yes, this is one of them.
Is that why you have it, Dennis, on your PC?
No comment. I'm being recorded here.
Here.
Well, this is a school. We must know this. You can't hold you responsible.
I'll tell you offline.
Okay.
You're just
Okay,
keeping track of the bad guys, right, Dennis?
no, that's the government, not my job. I'm retired. Okay, so kind of review. We talked about browsers. Browsers are a computer program sitting on your computer. You can use any browser you want. You can have multiple copies of browsers. Search engines are websites that you have to go to in order to search the web and look through their database. Search engines are not part of your computer. They're part of somebody else's computer. And just like browsers, you can choose any search engine you want. Okay. Now, let me,
Does the dark web, does Tor have different search engines than what we use?
Tor can use any search engine you want. But in the dark
Okay.
web, what you have to do is know the actual address. Okay, the search engine alone will not find it. Let me open up a browser for a second. I'm going to go back to Firefox for a moment. Okay, here's Firefox. You see the address bar?
Yeah.
Okay, when browsers started, you had to type in the correct address, https://www something, and it had to end with org or com or biz or gov or education, one of these things. And the browser took this address and went out on the internet and found it for you. Okay, that's the way the browser works. Still works that way today. But, and here's the but now, and it gets a little muddy. The browsers, okay, decided a while back that what they're going to do is, if they're not getting one of these things ending in dot something, okay, they're going to automatically call up a search engine and give this information automatically to the search engine. You do not have to call up the search engine and go there directly. The browser did this for you. So this address bar that started out as a pure address bar is now a dual purpose address bar, and it's sometimes called an omnibar, right? So I'm sitting here on the browser, but I could type in my name. And I just went to duckduck.go, which is a browser, and it has listed some stuff, right? Here's all the answers it found. Okay. So duckduckgo.com, and Bing.com and Google.com are all search engines. You can associate a default search engine with a browser. So your address bar now is dual purpose. The browser will automatically call up a search engine if it doesn't know what to do, or if you type in a specific address, it will use that address and load that page for you. So stop and think about that for a minute or two. And we'll see if there are questions about that. So they expanded the capability of a browser to have a default search engine. I see a lot of stunned looks.
So,
No? Everybody comfortable?
That's interesting. I wondered about that.
Yeah. Okay. Let me take a sidetrack for just a second. The way a search engine makes money is by displaying ads. When you click an ad on a search engine, the search engine company makes money by charging whoever paid for that ad. Okay? Google makes billions of dollars by placing ads on its search engine. Okay? Browsers are free. How do they make money? They have a default search engine. And when that search engine is called up by the browser, okay, the browser gets paid by the search engine, and the search engine gets paid by advertisers. So Mozilla makes $1 billion a year because they use search engines. Any search engine they go to knows that, gee, this request came from Firefox or Chrome, okay, or Edge, or one of the browsers. So if anybody clicks an ad on, okay, I will send some money to whichever browser sent them here. Okay. Questions?
What is the difference between Mozilla and Firefox?
Not a lot. It's just that each company is separate. Each company has done whatever they wanted with their version of the browser. And you almost have to look at each browser and decide, do the functions and the features they've added make it easier for me to use? Am I more comfortable? Do I like its looks? Does it operate faster? Okay. It's like cars. Okay. There's a lot of car manufacturers. You know, some people love Ford, some people love Chevy. Okay. I like Toyota. So I'd buy a Toyota truck, not a Ford or a Chevy truck. But there's no, I can't line up and say, absolutely, this one is better than something else. If I'm talking about trucks or cars, one might be a little cheaper. One might be a little more economical. One might be a little more comfortable to drive, right? So there's a lot of factors in each one of the browsers. All I can do is say, play with them. I personally use Chrome, right? I use Chrome because when I started Chrome a number of years ago, it was a little more comfortable for me and a little faster than Internet Explorer. But I just showed you, I got 7 different browsers on my system. If I want to play with them, I can open any of them and use any of them I want. Make sense?
yes.
Any questions? Okay. I'll show you the last confusing thing about browsers, right? If I opened up, let me see. Right. This is Edge, and you notice that Edge is using MSN.com. Okay. And Edge has Bing as their default browser. Right. If I opened up Firefox. Okay. Firefox has a default browser called DuckDuckGo. All right. But if I type in something here, for example, gas stations, Coos Bay, DuckDuckGo is the search engine that Firefox sent me to. All right. Here's the 10 best gas stations in Coos Bay. Now, I played a special game with Chrome, and I'm not suggesting you do it, but it works very well for me. Right? The default page I set up Chrome with, and I'll open Chrome. Okay. No, that's not what I want to do. I chose a search engine as my default page. So I killed two birds with one stone. I'm going to google.com, and here's their search engine. I don't have to go through some other site to get here. And I did this because I want to use some of these features every day. I might want to use news, or I might want to go to YouTube, or I might want maps or something like that. So you don't have to do this. I could have set any search engine I wanted here. I could have set Bing as the default search engine for Chrome. I just happen to choose Google. Does that make sense, or is that a little more confusing?
Yeah, it makes sense, but I gotta think about it a little bit more.
Oh, okay. Remember, you can choose any default page you want. You can choose any search engine you want. I just happen to choose a search engine as my default page. Okay. We're coming up to 54 minutes, so I want to go to the topic we haven't talked about before. Right. One of the things we said is that,
That's my default page, I think.
yeah, could be. All right. Just like
So-
some other products, you can add things to a particular program. You can give it more capabilities. This is Chrome. Chrome has a bunch of capabilities on it, but you can add extra capabilities. So if I went over here to these little ellipses in the upper right-hand corner, and I clicked it, and I came down to more tools, and I went to extensions, and I click that. Over here are a list of extensions that I have added to Chrome. Okay. Remember, Chrome is a browser that sits on my computer. Any extension I add sits on my computer now associated with Chrome. And if I come up here to this little bar of Chrome at the top, these are some of the extensions that I've added and turned on. So I bring up Chrome, and for example, I can click this, and I bring up Speed Test. Speed Test is a little program that has now been added to Chrome. And if I operate it, it's going to connect and tell me how fast my internet is. Okay. And this is saying it's 37 megabytes per second, 38. This morning when I started, it was 118. So for some reason, my internet is slowing down quite a bit. So that's my download speed, and it's calculating this upload speed right now. and it's going to be around 11 something. Okay. Over here, I have another little extension. It's saying 56. This is a weather extension. So if I click it, it'll give me the current weather in Coos Bay. So anytime I open up Chrome, I have some extensions I can use. This is the list of extensions, okay? I've added a whole bunch of extensions to Chrome. Right? I'll show you a couple. Right? For example, I have an AVG privacy if I wanted to use it. And over here is the little on off. So when Chrome comes up, it loads this extension, but it doesn't automatically start it unless I've turned the switch on over here. Okay. When it goes blue like that, it means I started it. If I turn it off, it doesn't work anymore. For example, I have a application extension here called Fake Spot. When I go to Amazon, let me go to Amazon for a second. I'm on Amazon now. Can everyone see my Amazon screen?
Yeah,
Yes,
Yep.
going away.
not now. Yeah.
Okay. So does anybody buy anything on Amazon?
Yes,
Yes.
Give me an idea what you might buy.
something from Macy's,
What?
an article of clothing from Macy's, maybe.
I got a Bluetooth radio. I don't know how to use it yet.
Well, okay. Let me say I just want shoes.
Okay,
Okay. So I'm going to look for men's shoes. Right? Comes up with New Balance, Adidas, Skechers, a whole bunch of shoes. Okay. Now let's say I go over here and I click the shoe. All right. Here is the shoe, and here are some reviews on it, 350 reviews, right?
mhm,
Oh, just lost my shoes. They're there.
still there.
I'm going to do something for a second. I just called up an extension. Okay. And this extension called Fake Spot gives me a value of what the reviews are. And it says basically the reviews, the 350, most of them are phony.
Really?
I
Yep.
can believe that.
So I can say analyze reviews and it will recalculate. What it does is looks at every single review. It has a database of terms that people use when they're faking a review. And then it gives me a review A, B, C, D, or F. Right? So what I'm saying is with these extensions, you can choose all kinds of different extensions to do different things.
Hmm.
Here's my extensions, okay? So this was Fake Spot, I turned it on, okay? I have Grammarly, which checks my spelling and use of grammar, right? I have Kaspersky Protection, which is on when I'm on the internet. It has a list of bad websites and it warns me in advance if I'm going to one, okay? And here's all of the, different kinds of extensions, right? Now, where do you get the extensions? You come over here and way down at the bottom It says open the Chrome web store. So let's review a second again. I'm using a browser called Chrome. Chrome has the capability of adding extensions to it, which improve the capability of Chrome. I can go to the Chrome web store and download any of these extensions. How many do I have to choose from? Well, fortunately or unfortunately, it's 100,000 different extensions.
Are they
Okay.
alphabetical or what do you do? Just have to thumb through them all?
Yeah. You have to kind of look, or you can do a search. Up here is a search box. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you type in the kind of thing, for example, I don't know what kind of extension I might want. Maybe I want a weather extension. So here's weather. Okay. Here are different weather type of extensions. Okay. So I can have an extension that's going for weather called infinite, UV weather, weather for Chrome. There's probably a bunch of them. Just like on Amazon, there's different kinds of review ratings. So I can click a review rating. I will only see those extensions that have this particular review rating. Okay, maybe I don't want it. Maybe I'm interested in some type of game. So I'm going to click game, and here's a bunch of different games I can use. Okay. So just like I'm suggesting you play with browsers, you can play with extensions to browsers. Now, if you're on Chrome, they're called extensions. If you're on Firefox, they're called add-ons. If you're on Edge, they're called extensions. And remember where I said where Edge went to Chromium and took Chromium as their engine? Edge also has a deal with Chrome, even though they're competitors. And anybody on Edge can go to the Chrome web store and download extensions. Okay. So we just covered a bunch of stuff. We went through search engines, we went through browsers. I introduced you to extensions. I think that's enough stuff to kind of muddle your brain a bit.
I wanted to ask you about this Go app.
About what?
Is it automatically there if I go to Chrome? The one that shows how fast the computer is going?
No, that's an extension.
Do I have to download it is what I'm asking.
What you do is you add it automatically to Chrome.
Yeah.
So that every time you come up with Chrome, that extension is available.
Okay.
It only works if you turn it on. If you do not turn it on, it doesn't work. It's still part of Chrome. It's just not working at the time.
Okay.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I see a lot of baffled looks. So let's just
No,
sit
I'm
here.
not.
So sit-
No, I'm not baffled.
So
Oh,
Dennis,
Yes.
could you give us a list of add-ons or extensions that you recommend? Like the one, I'd like to use the one that checks the reviews.
Okay. That's called Fake Spot.
Right, and I wrote that down, but there must be others that would be prudent for us to have on our computers. Is that something we could do for another class to just go?
I really can't do that
No,
because let me bring up Chrome again. Okay. I'm going to go down to more tools and extensions. These are the ones that for one reason or another, I found useful for me. Okay,
Right.
but they may not be useful for you. All right. So what I might do is I might go to any search engine. Okay. Let's go to an address bar and I might type in useful can't type here.
I put on your car.
So I'm typing in useful Chrome extensions. I'm going to a search engine and different people will give me information. So here's a little article on 10 useful Chrome extensions you should install in 2021. Right?
Hmm.
So I'll click it and it says website blocked to a Trojan. Okay. One of my extensions, Malwarebytes, okay, looks at everything I type in and says, hey, you don't want to go here. It's a crummy site. Okay. It says we strongly recommend you do not continue. Okay. So I'm going to go backward. So that's a useful extension, Malwarebytes. Right? Here's another advertisement. It says 44 best Chrome extensions. HubSpot. I'll try that. Okay. Malwarebytes allowed me to go to this particular blog called bloghubspot.com. Right? And it says, hey, here's a category of extensions: productivity, security, social media, search engine optimization, content sourcing, blogging. Okay. So if I'm interested in productivity, they gave me a bunch here. I can go to any of these. Right? For example, I have LastPass, which is one of the extensions on my Chrome. Okay. I can search down
Passwords.
and here's some best security Chrome extensions. So if you want a security extension, you can get these. Right? The reason I'm not recommending, there's 100,000 of them. They're all laid out in different categories. And you have to kind of pick a category and then go to a search engine and say, what's the best extension for Chrome in this particular category? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Well, I can't tell you which search engine to use. I can't tell you which browser to use. I can't tell you which extension to use. Everybody's different. You have to figure out what you're looking for and then go look and play with it.
So Dennis,
Yes.
the Malwarebytes that you used that caught that Trojan, that Malwarebytes you must have turned on automatically to be accessible whenever you do a search. Is that correct?
Yes.
That
Remember, I
extension
had a
must
list.
have-
I showed you a
Yes.
list of extensions and I
Mhm.
said there's an on-off switch. So my
Right.
extension Malwarebytes I've turned on.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
Did you download all those extensions?
Yes.
Okay.
I went to the Chrome store and I selected each extension I wanted. I added it to Chrome. Okay. I can go to Firefox and their particular location and add extensions to Firefox or any of the browsers, your choice. Okay. I know this is a little confusing, so let me leave it this way. We've been operating over an hour and a half. This is a very long recording. I will upload the recording and I will send a link to that recording to Renee. He will send it out to everybody. So if you want to come back and review this whole session, you can go to the YouTube link that Renee will send you and watch the recording. And, you know, on YouTube, you can speed it up, you can slow it down, you go to any location and play back any section you like. Okay. There was a lot of information. A lot of it is a little confusing. I assume you're a little overwhelmed. And somebody took notes.
Barbara took
All
notes.
right,
So I'll
good
take
for
a
you,
note.
Bruce.
Oh, Sheila took notes.
Yeah, I'm going to stop the video right now.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Dennis.
All
Thank
of
you.
that.
Right. You can tell who's
Yeah,
you can tell the guys, they're the ones with beards.
yeah.
I just noticed. How come you gals don't have beards too? It's cold out there.